It's the weekend, guys, but Bitcoin is literally about to make a huge move once the futures market open in about 12 hours. I'm gonna talk you through why I think there's two long opportunities to be had on the smaller time frame. I'm still also gonna talk about the higher time frame and where I think Bitcoin is gonna go in the next few days. This is an important video because, as I've told you, especially the video on Sunday before opening the market is always an important video. I'm also trying to talk about Ethereum because Ethereum is literally still bullish. I'm still thinking Ethereum against Bitcoin, and also the Ethereum dominance chart is still going hard. As you can see, we have Ethereum gaining into market percentage, and also we have Ethereum also gaining some grounds against Bitcoin in the Ethereum against Bitcoin charts. So let's start by talking about Bitcoin. As you can see, because Bitcoin right now is losing the 115.4k. As you can see, let's start with the higher time frame. I told you that there are two important lines to be broken on Bitcoin before turning super bullish on the higher time frame. The first thing is we've got this volume profile bull. Since we broke out of the $110,000 range, we made this other range. As you can see, we've got this value area low, this blue line, which I've got marked with a red mark, with a red line, as you can see, at 115 point, I think, $314. As you can see, this is a very important support or resistance depending if we're right now under or above the price. As you can see right now, we just lost it, so it's technically a resistance. So we need to break above 115.3 to be considered bullish on the mid or higher time frame, as you can see. And we also need to break, I think, this anchored VWAP on the smaller time frame. This is basically a tool that shows you, if you put this tool on top of an uptrend or a downtrend, it shows you when this downtrend is gonna be broken or when we can consider this downtrend to be broken. As you can see, we still haven't lost this downtrend on the smaller time frame on Bitcoin. So technically we still got some time, or we still got some resistance to break before going higher. However, if I focus solely on the lower time frame, if we stay on the 30-minute time frame, I'm gonna give you a couple of ideas to long and short Bitcoin, because I think this is the chance to be or to get into the market right now. Firstly, let me give you a prediction. Technically, I think Bitcoin has put a poor high. As you can see, I think there's an 80 to 90% chance that we go back above this high. As you can see, we got huge liquidity. Basically, we put this high right as we close the market. There's huge liquidity resting above with candles looking like they can easily be broken. To be honest, I'm still expecting 90%, as I've said, for this high to be broken, hence why I'm still gonna be looking for longs. How long we, or however drop we have on Bitcoin, if Bitcoin drops even further, I'm still interested in a long, because I think this high would be broken, especially once we open the market at the middle of the night on Monday. We've got about 12 or 11 hours by the time I post this video till we open the futures market at the night. So let me give you the idea right now. Technically, I think Bitcoin at the smaller time frame has made or could have shifted the structure from bearish to bullish. As you can see, we got Bitcoin creating higher highs, higher lows, and lower lows, as you can see. But right now we just flipped that thing. Once we took SFP or took liquidity, as you can see from this low, we basically stopped this bearish structure on the smaller time frame. We took liquidity, and we are right now actually, there is a possibility that we can actually change the structure, as you can see. So technically, I've got two ideas to long Bitcoin right now. The first idea is a long at $113.6 thousand, as you can see, based on the idea of putting the Fibonacci retracement tool from the bottom to the high of this move on the smaller time frame. As I've said, these are all ideas to long Bitcoin on the smaller time frame. They can be considered scalps. However, we can actually turn a small idea, a scalp idea, into a much larger move once Bitcoin starts showing us some strength. However, let's keep it moving. As I've said, the first idea, the first reason is to long at $113.6 thousand, because we've got the Fibonacci tool along with the volume profile pull. As you can see, if they take the volume profile among this old range, as you can see, we got this old range. We can clearly see that we've got this point control. As you can see, the point control around this move, the highest volume area is around $113.6 thousand. So we got confluence around this level. Technically, if you want to keep or switch the market structure on the higher or mid time frame from bearish, as you can see, this is clearly bearish market action or price action. We can start by actually making this low and then making this high, and then holding this low by either bouncing from this idea, this area, $113.6 thousand, as you can see, or the other idea is to bounce from the $112.5 thousand dollars. As you can see, 112.455. As you can see, these are the two ideas. We got the daily and the MPC. So if you're interested in a long right now on Bitcoin, watch for the bounce onto these levels, either $113.6 thousand or 112.5k. Technically, if we want to keep this, or if we want to switch from a bearish market structure into a bullish market structure, we must hold this low, okay? As we SFP'd it, I think on Friday, we made a liquidity grab. Then we must also, as you can see, hit this Fibonacci level or the other support to make a new high. Then we can actually call it an actual break of structure, or turning the bearish trend into a bullish trend. As you can see, this is basically the idea, keeping this low and then making this poor high so we can take some liquidity once we bounce from it. Once we do this, I think technically we have right now a broken structure from bearish into bullish, and then we can look into higher targets, probably even $120,000. So if you're interested in the long, this is the current long I'm interested in. I'm actually monitoring. So I've got an alert on $113.6 thousand. If this doesn't bounce, then I'm gonna be also monitoring this level. However, if we actually lose both these long ideas, then actually I'm gonna be waiting for a much longer drop. However, technically, based on my bias, there's a huge possibility of us bouncing from these levels, because as I've said, I'm expecting, to be honest, these highs to be broken. So if we keep them as it is and then we go down, especially as the market opens, then we can actually expect something like this happening, and then maybe thinking about turning this into a short once we take liquidity. Anyways, I'm still looking into these long ideas. However, when it comes to Ethereum, I still think Ethereum is gonna be super bullish this week, especially with Ethereum against Bitcoin still having room to go much higher. As you can see, I think the closest resistance area for Ethereum against Bitcoin is 7 to 8%, and based on how poor of a reaction once we took liquidity at the all-time high, I think we can easily give it an extra pump of 7 or 8%, going above $50 or $5,000, maybe 5,100, maybe, especially, or based on the idea of actually also Bitcoin pumping. So this is basically the long idea. I'm gonna be waiting for Bitcoin, and also I'm super bullish on altcoins this week. Thanks for watching.